Good morning, lords and ladies, and welcome back to A Morning with the Lord. I'm your friendly host, Lord Duffield, and we are joined again by young Azza.
Like I said last time, I just don't leave. I live here now.
Yeah, we may as well call this A Morning with the Lord and Azza. It seems to be a running theme for season 2.
I'll buy me a plot of land on Scotland, and I'll be able to, and it should be the morning with the Lords.
A Morning with the Lords, plural. I wonder what the plural group for grouping for a group of lords is. Yeah. I wonder if it'd be like it wouldn't be a flock, probably.
It'd have to be a murder of lords.
A murder of lords, or a gaggle of lords. A flow of lords.
Yeah, and we're going to hold the first ever Lord Muster.
The Lord Muster.
Every lord.
I will just fucking ass fuck every one of them. It's gonna be on. It's the Lord Muster. Fucking, we'll sell tickets. That'll be on that cunt. I bet you we'll make it private. You know, we won't publicise it. You know, all subscriptions will be held in confidential status. So send us an email if you're willing to come to the Lord Muster. Oh. Anyway, on today's agenda for A Morning with the Lord, we have a little bit of a story here to do with some new ancient tombs found in Saqqara. There's a story about, a live feed from the ABC News about the Ukrainian and Russia war. We got a story about Sri Lankan schools losing fucking exam paper. And the most important story of all, I do believe, is the fact that Australian Migarang noodles may rise in price due to the war from Ukraine.
Now, I can't handle that. Like, what am I going to eat if I can't afford me noodles?
I mean, if we can't afford noodles, I mean, everything's just gone fucked. We are absolutely fucked. I mean, I was talking to a guy earlier on, and I showed him that paper I was giving out at the pub the other night about the council meeting and stuff, and he was talking about the sale yards, and he said, according to what he's heard, the sale yards, they're not really running at a profit. It is costing a lot, and they have to pay for the computer programs to hold the records of the sales and the tags, as they pass hands and that sort of shit, and that is what is costing them really a lot of the money. And it's like, if we're at the point where we can't even afford to keep our sale yards open or pay for fucking noodles, something has to be done. There's no it's costing us too much now, we should fucking, maybe sell it into private hands. No. There's a fucking reason it is costing too much. We should have never, this is council fucking shit. They declare the rates.
They want to do what was suggested a couple of years ago, and we'll be like India and just start eating crickets and shit.
Well, if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes. If it is... I totally don't believe this. I think this is probably one of the most crock of shit claims to come out, and that is that the methane from the cows in the world is actually one of the greatest contributors to fucking global warming.
Yeah, I know about that one.
And, I am not a fucking fan. I do not agree with that. But if it is at all possible that we are producing that much fucking meat, that it is their farts alone before they're slaughtered is literally causing a rise in temperature. One, either our population's way too big to fucking even eat that much meat. We still have to be starving from that to go to crickets and shit. And two, if our we are in dire straits. That is some fucking... If we are literally at the point where our population is so large that we cannot even produce enough cattle and fucking livestock to feed the populace of the world, which we weren't doing in the first place, let's face it, we let a lot of people starve.
And we still are.
And, this is fucking Australia. We should not be starving. We produce, Most of our land is farming. How the fuck do we get to the point where we have no meat and fucking somehow the war with Ukraine is rising our prices on fucking noodles?
Well, it doesn't help that we export most of our meat. We don't keep it for ourselves.
Yes, I'm sure that doesn't fucking... But this is my point. You know, how have we let it get to the state in which we are quite literally fucked? Well, let's start on this story anyway, as it is the most pressing, because if I can't afford noodles, I'm fucked.
Be starving for the next week or two till I get paid again.
It says here, the ripple effects of Russia's war on Ukraine are set to be felt as far afield as Indonesia, with industry figures saying it will likely push up the price of the country's most popular food, instant noodles. Last year, Indonesia imported about a quarter of its wheat, the main ingredient for instant noodles, from Ukraine. Combined, Ukraine and Russia's produce about 1/3 of the world's wheat exports. However, with Ukrainian ports under siege and Ukrainian farmers forced to leave their fields to fight, major disruptions are expected in... Disruptions, not distributions, sorry. Major disruptions are expected in the supply chain. Indonesia Consumers Association President Talis Abadi said the country's 270 million people should expect the price of noodles to rise. This has to be anticipated because the chicken noodle or instant noodle that we eat, 100% of the ingredients are imported, Mr. Abadi said during a public webinar this month. And this here is the fucking point. Fucking Indonesia's, like, one of our biggest exports or imports from Indonesia is obviously this instant noodle, fucking as it said, yet all of their fucking ingredients are imported.
Yeah, so it's not even Indonesian, it's fucking Ukrainian noodles.
Yeah, Ukrainian wheat making Indonesian fucking noodles. But like, this is what happens fucking everywhere. This is exactly like us ripping out the fruit bowl to bring in fucking overseas fucking shipping on certain goods. And this is where it ends. Like, fucking, if some cunt gets invaded, we're all fucked. And you can't tell me that over the entirety of Indonesia's production of noodles, they have imported all their fucking grain.
Apparently, that's what it says.
Well, that's what it is now. I highly doubt that it was always completely
they would have
imported.
to start with their own somehow.
Surely. Anyway, world economics. It's a brilliant thing. The story goes on to say, this has to be anticipated... Oh, wait, I read that a bit already. Next. The head of Indonesia's Trade Ministry Research Division, Kasan Mari, said the conflict had not yet had a significant impact on wheat or instant noodle prices. Mr. Murray said Indonesia still had around 1.2 million tonnes of wheat, enough for the next 2 months. Mad.
They eat a lot of wheat.
Bruh, that's a fucking... That is a shit ton. And next 2 months, yeah. So they got enough to supply for the next 2 months. But
after that,
how much of that time like is taking up after the supply of the packaging and shipping, and like how long until the production factories close before this 2 months ends? Because that's when you start losing jobs and we start paying exuberant prices. An increase in the price of instant noodles has been predicted, but the size of the increase depended on the duration of the war, he said. But size of the increase depended on the duration. Yeah, okay. The potential of a price increase will be much smaller if the intensity of invasion doesn't last too long, he told the ABC.
It's already lasted too long. I don't know what you're...
Yeah, we need to get back to producing noodles.
That's right.
Like, this invasion needs to end.
I'm hungry.
I am hungry. Speaking of, I need to go put that roast on. But it says here, the price of noodles is also expected to rise in Australia, which, according to the World Instant Noodle Association...
Shit, they got a World Instant Noodle Association. I did not know that was a thing.
Learn something new every day. The World Instant Noodle Association is the 19th largest consumer of instant noodles in the world. So, the World Instant Noodle Association... Oh, no. Australia, according to the World Instant Noodle Association, is the 19th largest consumer of instant noodles in the world.
I was going to say the World Instant Noodle Association eats most of the noodles. How dare they? Share the noodles around, fuck yeah.
It says, we in Australia, we eat 440 million servings of noodles in 2020. Which is bullshit, because I watched a thing the other day talking about serving sizes, and they are not regulated. So, 440 million servings could mean whatever the fuck.
If I'm hungry, I'll put 4 packs of noodles together, so that's really only 110 million feeds.
Aisha Wilson, a 19-year-old Queensland University of Technology student, said her family bought a box of 30 packets of noodles every month.
Well, that's not...
Yeah, like, Jesus Christ, that's minor standards. That's only one a day.
Yeah.
I want at least 2 a day.
That's a whole family eating one a day.
Yeah, like, you can do a little bit better than that. See these uni students? No idea.
No. No, not a single fucking clue.
She goes on to say, I don't know how to cook, and my cooking oftentimes is just taking its noodles and then adding meat or salads to it, she said. It's quick and simple, 10 minutes in the kitchen, easy.
Sounds like too much effort for noodles. Just fry an egg, chuck it on top, done.
That's easy, 10 minutes.
Yeah, I suppose. Depends how hot your fry pan is.
Miss Wilson was surprised to hear the war in Ukraine was expected to push up the price of instant noodles. You don't really have any idea what could possibly be affected by something like this, she said. But even as someone who eats a lot of instant noodles, at the end of the day I'm more concerned for the people in Ukraine and Russia and neighbouring countries. It's glad that they put a statement from someone in that, because apparently the company's only interested in when they can get some more fucking wheat. We need to make some noodles.
Oh, maybe you should start importing some from Australia.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, all this farmland that we ripped out so that we could rely more on other countries. Maybe we should start growing some wheat.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe all those farmers who lost their homes and shit, you know, like they might even get a chance to get them back. The government should even half give them like reduced prices on the homes that they once owned and built.
Yeah, just give them a discount, you know.
Yeah.
5%, not much.
Because I am not putting up with this fucking lowering in fucking noodle prices. There's no fucking way.
It's not lowering it, they're raising it. They're making it worse, dummy, not better.
Why do I keep... That's the second time today I've somehow gone backwards on a statement and just fucked it.
We will blame the beers of the day for that one.
Yes. Even though we are performing today's podcast completely sober.
As always.
As always. We are more interested in being able to provide for you coherent and edible fucking speaking for your podcast listening.
What else we need to talk about?
Yeah, we need to talk about whores for a second. We're going to cut in here because I have a full fucking rant and I'm going to forget it like in about 6 seconds. So we're going to start off. Fucking whores think they can totally come along and fucking, you know, chicks want to be fully fucking protected from any action that they may make in the future. And if they get fucking pregnant, you have to pay for that shit. I would just like to call out for a minute. Let me just throw some thought fucking experiments out there into the universe and see how people come out after thinking of it from this type of perspective. Alright? Let's say for a second you are a woman. You get pregnant. This is off a one night stand. And you know, he put it in there. He was all about that. He was fucking... You said stop. You said pull out. He didn't. You both laughed. There was a warm sensation. You might have fucking had some runoff off the legs as you left the bathroom stall in the nightclub. But fucking it happened nonetheless. And a child was presented afterwards. Now, you think it is fully within your rights that you should claim fucking benefit. That dude needs to pay you 30% of his wage, and I don't give a fuck what his wage is. It could be fucking $500 a fucking week. It could be $1,500 a week. He might even be one of those luxurious politicians pulling in $3,000 off a steady income in a rural town. You know, this dude might have been just flashing the cash. You know, it's not your fault you got shouted 12 drinks at the bar and needed someone to drive you home. You couldn't drive. That's illegal.
Neither can he.
Fucking... That's neither here nor there. The important point is, right, you were the person who fucking ended up with the child out of the practice. Now, no doubt that child is going to be a continual income. Like a continual expense. The child's getting a continual income. I've had a habit of that today. I am kind of saying my shit backwards. When I say income, I mean expense. When I say expense, I mean income. This is going to be hard to decipher. We're going to be listening to this fucking speech for years to come to try and discern what I actually mean. But I will continue nonetheless. We need to persevere. We are pushing forward with this thought before it is gone from my head. And after these bitches have taken their fucking money, right, that kid's paid for, and don't get me wrong, like, you're paying, like, on top of the bills, the dude is, like, still has an active relationship with the child, so he is paying for them specifically to go and get things done too. You know, this is, you don't want to be the cunt sitting there being like, I gave your mother the money for them soccer lessons. You wouldn't have even, I bought them shin guards. Fucking, that was my fucking money. You know, you don't want to be that dude. So, you know, you let her go, and you're just, you know, you pay for some little shit yourself. You know, you might have the money to pay for golf lessons. You could afford a set of clubs for the kid, maybe even to expand every couple of years. That kid might be using clubs that are a little bit long for him for a couple of years, you know, if you have to. But the point is, you're making the fucking effort, right? Anyway, this ends up costing you about $30,000 after the first 3 years. We're talking 10 grand a year on top of fucking child support payments, you know, and like, you never get anywhere. You don't get to get overseas. You don't get to get laid again. No one's fucking chasing that down. There's no chicks out there that are like, I'm looking for the dude that's paying child support. I want to see the dude who cares for his kids, isn't financially able to have any more, wasn't financially able to have any in the first place. I'm just looking for that guy, right, that has a fucking half a soul. That doesn't fucking happen, right? Now, let's imagine, just for a second, say you are that female who has had said child. Alright, let's flip that around for a second and just imagine you're that fucking dude who has no fucking money and gets to take his kids for fucking golf lessons every fucking fortnight, you know, for about 3 hours, and then you've got to fucking do some other shit which you can't fucking, you know, it's probably going to be boring as fuck. You know, you're just going to be sitting there trying to cook dinner and clean up after working the fucking 48 fucking hour job that you do every week that you only get paid 38 hours for. And, you know, your kid's complaining because his golf clubs are too fucking long for him in the first place. He can't even, like, how am I supposed to play with this dad? You don't care about these other kids have fucking shoes. That kid's out there playing in fucking volleys. Volleys are tennis shoes. They're not golf shoes, man. He doesn't understand. And like, just imagine you're that cunt for a second. Not the missus who's sitting there after paying for them to go to school, getting their fucking school clothes, their school shit, and fucking paying for their fucking school fees and getting them to come home every day and being like, if you didn't get this food, you wouldn't be fucking, you know, you better be grateful for what you get every fucking day. And then be like, why don't you ask your fucking father for that? He's not here, is he? Imagine just swapping them roles around for a second. This is just a little thought experiment I want to throw out there. A little bit of a segue through the podcast. But fuck it. Need to be said.